And you've heard the stories. We try to promote them all the time. Print is dead. Everyone reads on their tablets or on their smartphones. Well, Jason Binn, a true publishing superstar, doesn't believe it. He's turning around the business model for magazines. Jason thinks his DuJour magazine model can be a template for the 21st century. He is trying to connect advertisers with high net worth individuals, and he's making it happen. He's here with us today for a Bloomberg exclusive. Jason, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
DuJour Media, what's the model? It's
converging and digital, because in my mind, print can't live without digital, and digital can't live without print. So it's not about putting out a monthly magazine. So we put out a quarterly print magazine that talks to an audience that spends $250,000 in a year or has a $5 million net worth. And then we also go out monthly with a digital magazine, which we leverage the top 2 million Gilt subscribers.
The Gilt Group, where
yes.
we buy all our high-end fashion products.
Flash sales site, yes.
Jason, a lot of people would agree with the first statement, that print can't survive without digital. But why are you certain that digital can't survive without print? Why do you believe that these people, the people who are going to pick up DuJour, want to hold something?
Because luxury brands today, in this time and period, feel that their brand is more controlled and in a more sustained environment than being on digital.
When it's real. When it's not virtual, in other words.
Yeah, where it can go anywhere. They want to be in a very comfort zone where they're next to brands that are similar or, are competitive with them in some set.
And what's your partnership with Gilt? How does it work? Gilt does attract the high-end shopper.
Sure.
Where do you tie in?
So Gilt, knowing that their audience is as good as they get, and they love traveling, eating, food, home design, fashion, watches, you name it. It's a full-on luxury lifestyle experience, and that's what we try to do with DuJour. So as we distribute it through their channel, it engages that digital audience, because many people who are digital users like to read magazines online.
But did we need another magazine? I walk by a magazine stand every day, and I feel like we've got Elle, we've got Vanity Fair, we've got Travel and Leisure.
Adweek gave us the hottest magazine of the year, and we won the Webby for best homepage and got honored for navigation and structure. So we've won tons of accolades.
Jason, is the Gilt list that you're operating with really what you want ultimately? A lot of people think of Gilt as still a flash sale site and not a luxury destination. Would you not rather have, say, the list of shoppers from the Hermes store on Madison Avenue or Tom Ford International? People
who shop at Hermes and Tom Ford shop at Gilt, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. So you have, the high and the low, and, and what we do with Gilt is they have top-tier consumers, and they're spending $700 or $600+ million a year. And what's more remarkable about the Gilt Group is 6 years ago, if not more, they were cultivating their audience. And I think today it's really hard to get those really great qualified consumers online, because it's so
also,
competitive.
A Gilt customer is somebody who aspires, right? They might not be able to shop off the shelf at Tom Ford or Hermes, and they can do it at Gilt, and they do it in a magazine. Do you think one of the, the Condé Nast of the world, the Hearsts, want to acquire you?
What's interesting is I believe that many of the print companies that are more of the traditional set, what we did was go out of our house to build our house. They're building their house within their house. And I think that the digital world, they've been at this game for many years, and a lot of print organizations are trying to catch up to engage that digital consumer.
Is your engagement and authenticity killing them? I follow you on Instagram. You're sort of the king of... They said Ellen was, you've got selfies dating back from like 1992.
My God.
You do? Why is it that you feel that you want to include yourself in all this? You're really part of the brand.
It's interesting because in the early 90s, late 80s, getting these people, capturing these people in places, no one had cameras like on their phone. So for me, I've been taking photos since I was 19 years old, and I was walking around with a real camera. So today, when I throw a party, like we did this event recently with Lupita before she went out to LA for the Oscars, and it was a great cover party, and so many people were like taking pictures like this. The authenticity, like you're saying, is not as real as it was maybe in those periods where people couldn't really capture those people at those times.
Being successful in luxury goods or the luxury industry requires a certain amount of curation. Do you think of yourself as a curator of people?
You have to be. You have to curate. Not only the magazine has to be original content. The audience is priceless. Today it's a different world, and you have to curate the content. You have to curate your platforms. So you have to speak to people online, offline. You just can't be a one-dimensional business anymore. The advertisers don't want that.
But you actually said curate people. When I think of who's the greatest person curator, it's Graydon Carter. How do you become the next generation? I mean, you just said it before, Lupita. You called Lupita back in August. You put her on the cover in September. I don't know who she was until 6 weeks ago. How do you figure out curating the right people, those who we want to be near, who we're going to care about?
Well, I think a lot of people today want to know what's new and fresh and exciting, because news today, whether it's here or anywhere, you know a lot of times what's going to be on the cover of a newspaper. You know what's going to be spoken about the next day because of this digital content being so live.
And immediate, yes.
Yeah, so it's important when you do print to kind of create these stories that are going to curate people and have, lasting power, be more evergreen, and inspire and motivate people.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Ellen DeGeneres, she's not the queen of the selfie. This guy is. Jason Binn, he's the CEO and founder of DuJour Media.
The conservative stars are